Hey everyone, the Chippa here, back with another Chippa in the third person video log. How's everybody doing? Sorry I missed doing this on Monday. I was still recovering from what was one of the best days that I've ever had. Just absolutely fulfilling from I'll call it a professional standpoint because it has to do with an old job of mine. But also very personal. Saturday, if you don't know or if you weren't able to be there for it, was the first live recording of a podcast I've ever done and the first live recording of the Talkbuster podcast. We did it at Opus Underground in Salem, Massachusetts, who were incredible in helping get this thing put together. Special thanks to Nathan Dykes over there, who runs the Underground. He's the bartender, sound guy, all-around jack of all trades. He had some great ideas for doing the show that I incorporated into the stage setup. So I was able to have my brother Movie Bob Chipman, Scott, Steve, Paul, Tim, and Michelle, all the original group of people that I worked with at Blockbuster in Salem, Massachusetts. I was a lowly 17-year-old. They were all in their early to mid-20s. I'm 35 now. So it's been some time. 18 years later, we all get back together in the same room. There's other people from that crew, as well, that were unable to be there. We talk about them in the live show, but, I'd like to do a special shout out in this to Casey Malone and Jeremy Soltis. Andrew Connor, who's been on an episode of the show, but he lives down in Florida. There's some folks that came later that I'd like to get back together that are still local to do another live recording of this. But man, the memories that came back, the laughter from the crowd, which there was about 20 to 25 people in the crowd, so not a huge crowd, but also wasn't just doing it, with just my friends. Wanted to thank Reed D, Chris Finnick, Dan Williams, who's been on the show, Molly Chipman, Kale Abergini, sorry, I'm bad with names today, I'm coming off the top of my head, my mom, my sister, other folks who I've never met, my sound guy, Jim, Pat Perry from work, my current job that came to check it out, Leslie, Leah, Danielle, God, I'm going to forget names. My wife, Sarah, of course, for running trivia and being the MC for the evening. It was amazing. Went off without a hitch. The recordings came out great, both visual and audio-wise. Work on getting those edited together and getting them up. But, it was great that I did it during the day because we all get to hang out after and talk about it. Got to play Right Quote Wrong Movie for the first time in public. Got some great feedback. People seem to love it. We played it at my house, Cards Against Humanity style, after, just sitting around a table. It brought me back 18 years, right? I know that, we've all moved on. We've all got our careers or whatever else is going on. But, there's people from high school that I don't talk to, as much anymore, that I don't know necessarily if the getting back together would mean as much as this did. We all got very emotional about it. This might sound silly, but literally, this was the best job I've ever had. This was the best group of people I've ever worked with. Nothing's going to be able to top this. It makes it hard to get up and go to work now, just for having that spark of remembrance of how great that was. So again, I want to thank Steve, Paul, Michelle, Bob, Tim, and Scott. I probably missed him in the first list. Steve, Paul, Bob, Tim, Michelle, Scott, 6, and me. For putting yourselves out there. I know that this wasn't necessarily business as usual for a lot of you, talking in public in front of a bunch of people, but outside of the crowd interaction, the Q&A was great, people laughed. It was like it was just us sitting there, man. I wouldn't want to be anywhere else in the world. And I don't know what else to say other than it was outside of, meeting my wife, my wedding, the birth of my kids, maybe there's some things in my current career, my thesis defense that are up there. But for something that there was no timeline. This wasn't like a task I had to do for work. This wasn't like a thing that I was commissioned to do by someone. This was all for me and these 6 people. And I'm so unbelievably proud, of myself and of my wife for taking up the reins at the beginning. Sarah, you did an incredible job. For all of my friends for actually, putting themselves out there. I know that this wasn't easy. But I can't believe we have this time capsule now. We have this thing to remember all of this by. It won't be forgotten. It won't be forgotten. It's all we ever talk about when we hang out. And it's just, I'm on cloud 9. I said it in a tweet, and I'll say it again now. I just can't believe it happened. I can't believe I coordinated and put on something that worked so goddamn well and came out the way that I wanted it to, especially something unscripted. This is off the cuff. I had some questions written down, but we didn't go over this beforehand. This is the way I like to do this. I do it live the same way I do it when I record it. I think that comes off genuine. And I hope you guys enjoy it. And if you were there and you liked it and you've never heard of my show before, I'm glad that you've showed up now. If you want to throw me some dollars to help, pay for it and pay for the other shows, patreon.com/thechippa is where you go. And until next time, thank you all for watching. This has been the Chippa, and I'll see you guys on the other side.